What is good, everybody? Thank you for joining me on another episode of KBFL Different. As always, I'm your boy Des Cole, and today we're going to be talking about how to take better pictures using your iPhone. Welcome back, everybody, to KBFL Different. If you don't know what KBFL stands for, it stands for Know, Be, Feel, and Look. And this channel was made to help give you a holistic set of skills to help you be effective in the real world. So today I'm going to be giving you 6 tips on how to take better pictures with your phone. These tips are things that I've just learned over the years by having an iPhone, and I couldn't tell you how many times people have asked me what camera I'm using to take my pictures when it's really just been my phone this whole time. Today I'll be shooting on my iPhone 12 Pro Max, but these tips will be relevant whether you have an iPhone 12, 13, 11, or any model that can run the most recent iOS. Alright, so getting right into it, the very first tip for you guys today is to use unique angles. I'm sure you guys have heard this before if you're searching for this topic, but this point really can't be overstated. When you take a picture from the normal view height, everything looks kind of just normal. Now, as you guys can see, if I want to take a picture of this tree out in my front yard, even just pointing the camera up and getting a little bit of the sky and the tree in the picture is cool. But if you see here, if I step forward and get a little bit of a closer angle and play around with my focus, then I can get a lot better photo just by getting up a little bit closer. Alright guys, so tip number 2 is something that I just started recently doing for my fit pics, and that is to use a tripod. I personally like to use my tripod because I already know the angles that I want to get when I go out and shoot, and so it just makes it easier for me to just go and do that myself without having to ask anybody else's help. A tripod also holds the frame for you and allows you to get a bunch of just different pictures in one frame. One thing to think about if you're taking fit pics using a tripod is to use a timer. Now, the native camera app on the iPhone does have a timer, and you can find it by pulling down the little arrow at the top of the screen, pressing the little clock in the far right, and then choosing either 3 or 10 seconds. If you close the menu, you can easily get back by clicking the button on the top right hand corner, and then you can just change it easily there. But personally, I like to use this app called Lens Buddy. Basically, Lens Buddy is just a more sophisticated timer. It allows you to set the time you need to prepare before the timer starts. Select how many photos you actually want to take. You can also set the time interval in between each photo, and you can also toggle whether or not you want to take raw photos or live photos or portrait photos. So this app gives you a ton of options around your timers. You can also set the grid, aspect ratio, there's a level guide, and a ton more cool things in this app, so you guys should definitely check that out. Now, there are a lot of tripods out there, but do make sure if you just have a tripod laying around, you will need an extension that's going to allow you to put your phone on top of it. Alright, so tip number 3 is going to be to set the focus yourself. A lot of times when people are taking photos, especially when they get up close to something, or even if they're just taking a picture of their friends, I see a lot of pictures that are out of focus or just focused on the totally wrong thing. And this is just something that really shouldn't happen because it is so easy to set the focus yourself on your iPhone. Now, as you guys can see, I love my trees, but I think this frame gives a good foreground and background. So to lock in your focus, you tap and hold on the part that you want to focus in on, and then on the right side, you can toggle this little bar that has a sun on it, and that'll toggle your exposure. We can also play around with our photo and click maybe on the background and focus on that, and play around with our exposure. And this is really one of my favorite tools because I think you can get a lot of different photos just by playing around with these simple tools. Now, tip number 4 is something that I usually don't hear very often, but I always give this advice to people who want to take better pictures. It's for the love of God, please take more photos. Don't just take 1 or 2 pictures, take like 8 or 10. The beautiful thing about having a phone is that you can delete the picture right after you take it, and you can set your favorites. One of the worst feelings is you give your phone to somebody to take a picture of you and they only take 2 pictures and neither of them are the one that you want. So the best way to get around that is to just simply take more pictures. You could take 100 pictures of somebody and really they only need that one, and at the end of the day you can delete all the rest. So please protect yourself from being frustrated and just take more photos, please. Alright guys, so moving on, tip number 5 is something that I like to call the Trinity. It's a pretty simple concept, but it's something that I like to use when I'm out in public and I want to take out my phone really quick to snap a photo. If your phone doesn't have the wide angle option, that's fine. Just use all of the available ones you have. I like to find a frame that I like and then use all of the available focus options that I have. It allows you to grab 3 unique perspectives of just one frame, and so I really see it as getting 3 pictures out of just one frame that I found interesting. Shout out to all of you who've stuck around this far in the video. If you've liked it this far, I'd really appreciate a like. And the very last tip I have for you guys today is to edit your photos. I may have just made this whole video just so I could tell you this one right here, because I don't know how many times I see a great photo, or I'll take a great photo of somebody and they won't edit it and then they'll post it and it's like, oh, that picture had so much more potential. So to get all the potential out of the pictures that you take, I'll give you a couple apps that I use that have really helped me make my photos look like they were not taken on an iPhone. Alright guys, so the first app I have for you is Adobe Lightroom. This app is free on the App Store, and one of my favorite parts of it are the presets. The presets button is located right here at the bottom. So if I take multiple pictures and I want them to have the same filter, I can just save it, and it just makes it so much easier to edit pictures in bulk. So as I edit this picture that I took a little bit earlier, you can see Adobe Lightroom has pretty much everything I need to be able to make this picture look as good as possible. So take my advice or not, but I think the edited picture looks a lot better than the original one. Alright, so the second free app I have for you guys today is one of my favorite editing apps called Prequel. In my opinion, Prequel has one of the best libraries of effects and filters that allows you to do really cool stuff with your pictures. So the first thing I'll show you is the effects you could find in the top right. Now Prequel has some of the coolest effects that I've found for photo editing. It has this cool D3D effect that allows you to transform still pictures into moving GIFs. Some of these film looking ones are some of my favorites, and as you guys can see, there are a ton of effects, and each effect, if you click into it, has multiple other effects. Now I have the paid version, so in the free version, some of the options to the effects are unavailable, but it still will give you a couple of options. And in each one of the options, you can even go in and change some of the effects. So in this one, the speed, the HUD, and the filter you can change. And so it gives you a lot of freedom to create something unique. Here are some of the other really cool effects that you can use. And now we'll move on to filters, which is the button right under it. So pretty much the same thing applies for the filters. There's a massive library of filters, and in each one, there are different options that you can choose within it. I think this Mojave filter looks great on this photo. And similarly to Lightroom, you can customize all of the lighting and contrast and all of those things. In Prequel, you can also add text, stickers, music, intros, and you can also edit videos in it as well. So now as we finish our edit, I think this photo is looking beautiful, but definitely check out Prequel if you truly want to stand out and make your pictures not look like anybody else's. And that's it guys. Those are my 6 tips on how to take better pictures using your iPhone. Alright, so the last thing I have to say around this topic is, even though we have all of these tools, the most important thing to keep in mind is that we're capturing moments. So don't get yourself overwhelmed with all the tips and tricks. Just go out there, relieve yourself from fear, and go create something different. And if you're looking for more skills that'll allow you to be more effective in the world, I'd highly recommend you guys subscribe to the different channel, as we'll be dropping new videos every week. Again, thank you guys for joining me. I'm Des Cole, and I'll see you next time. Peace.